You know what? As the head of
research for card grading,
I gotta say, I'm excited about this
video that Collector's Impact is
gonna make. It's gonna be dope, you know? But you know what's even more dope is
browsing the websites of SGC and PSA and looking at the data,
and then you organize them into a nice tight spreadsheet.
Voiceover work. Voiceover work. Voiceover work. What's up, guys? DK here with Collector's Impact, and today we are going to look at SGC versus PSA and compare how their grading goes, specifically for the Marvel and DC comic cards. So I know that there's a lot of speculation and or perception out there that SGC grades lighter, softer, easier than PSA. But yeah, I can't speak for the sports and the Pokemon and stuff like that, but when it comes to the Marvel and DC cards, I've been looking into this quite a bit, looking at the pop reports and stuff, and I've been finding some pretty interesting things, so I wanted to go ahead and share that with you guys today. And then if you can, of course, if you like this video or this type of content, please give this video a thumbs up, as it greatly helps the channel and the algorithms and all that kind of stuff. And if you want to see more stuff like this in the future, as well as PSA and SGC grade reveals and submissions and discussions and things of that nature, please subscribe to the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. All right, back to the topic at hand. Let's go ahead and jump into the pop reports and do some voiceover work. And keep in mind that this data is from late July of 2021, just for reference. So these pop reports will, of course, change over time, so I just wanted to note that. So let's go ahead and look at 1990 Marvel Universe. And in SGC, it's under 1990 Impel Marvel. And you can see here that they've graded 2,436 cards, with 454 of them being 10s. That equates to roughly 18.6% being 10s. And then 620 of them are 9s, which is, what, 25%. So, yeah, overall about 40% or so in those grades. And then you see Captain America, there's 6 10s out of 46 graded. So keep that in mind. That ratio, whew, that's a pretty steep ratio. Spider-Man, 72 graded, 7 are 10s. Professor X, let's see, Wolverine, 56, 14 10s. So you can see here that these are in relative proportion to the overall average of that 18% or less in some of these cases. So that's really what I'm trying to drive home here. Here's Loki, 23 graded, only 2 came back as 10s. That's yeah, like single digit or 10% or whatever. Under 10%. Venom, look at this. 67 graded, only 6 of them are 10s. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty, that's a strong ratio there. 61 Thanos is graded, 4 of them are 10s. And the list goes on, guys. So this is kind of an interesting thing to look at in terms of SGC and the 10. Now, the 9.5, you can get more, obviously, but look at that. Okay, 159 Stan Lees, and 14 of them are 10s. 14 out of 159. So keep these ratios in your head as we go ahead and take a look at PSA. All right, so let's go ahead and type it in here. 1990 Marvel. And then you can see here that they have graded a total of 8,565, so a very much more than SGC, but still. And they've resulted in 3,350 10s and 2,962 9s. Sorry about that. So those percentages together, I mean, you're looking at 39% are 10s and 35% are 9s. That's a huge amount. And then you look here, Spider-Man, they graded 77 10s out of the, what was that, 200? Okay, so Wolverine, 85 10s. I mean, it's, in terms of its relative proportion of graded versus 10s, you can see here, just looking at this list, It's pretty even. Except now when you get to Cosmic Spider-Man, there's a pretty big differentiator. 160 graded, but only 14 10s. That's massive. That explains why that card is so expensive in a PSA 10. That's for sure. That's one of the anomalies that sticks out in comparison to the average grading that I'm seeing in these numbers here. Yeah, I mean, you can see, check out these ratios. It's all around 40 to 50%, just at a glance at least. And then let's go ahead. Oh, there's Thanos. Yeah, so 42 10s out of 177 graded. You know, it's kind of in the middle. It's definitely not quite 38%. 39%, but it's still up there. It's no Cosmic Spider-Man. Okay, let's look at Stan Lee. So 602 were graded and 143 came back as 10s. So yeah, relative to SGC, 10s definitely seem a lot more prevalent for PSA. All right, and let's go ahead and move on to SGC again and look at some Marvel Master Series or Masterpieces 1993. That's a pretty popular one. So you can see that they have graded a total of 289, and they've returned 48 10s. So that equates to 16.6% are 10s. And Spider-Man here was graded the most. It looks like 26, and you got 9 10s. So that's actually a pretty good ratio in comparison to the 16 average. That's higher. So here's Spider-Man 2099. That one, yeah, 15 and 3. Deadpool, the 10 graded, only 1 came back. That's 10%, obviously. I mean, the sample size is pretty small here, but the implication is obviously people are sending in at least what they think are their best cards, and there are more 9.5s that resulted in 10s, obviously, and then 9s after that is extraordinary, as you can tell, but people are sending in good cards. You know, they're trying to, at least. That's the hope with grading, so yeah, the ratio, even on this one, just like the last one we saw, I mean, look, 13 Wolverines, you got 4 10s. So it's pretty accurate in terms of that 16.6 average. So let's go over to PSA and let's check out the same set. So let's see. All right, so now let's see. They have graded 888, and of that, 487 of them came back as 10s. Wow, that's an average of 55%, so that's pretty significant. And then it's good to note, too, that the 9s are high, too, at 245 there. So let's see. So here's Spider-Man from them, 67 graded, 46 came back as 10s. Wow, that's pretty significant. And then 40 Wolverines, 21 are 10s. That's half of them, a good 50%. Yeah, Captain America 25 versus 13 10s. That's definitely, I mean, look at this. These ratios, yeah, 27 and 15 Carnage. Man, 13 Hulks, 2099, and 10 of them are 10s. That's almost all of them are 10s. Now, again, these are smaller sample sizes, but you can see here with these examples that the ratio of submitted versus 10s for PSA, it's pretty staggering in comparison to SGC, because the thing is, SGC likes to do that damn 9.5, and you can't make the claim that PSA grades harsher than SGC when, you know, they have the same grading scale. Essentially, they do give those 10s more prevalently than, say, Beckett, for example, or another company like that, or CGC. So let's go ahead and look at Marvel Masterpieces 1996, because that one's a really expensive one. So let's see. So they've got 2 listings, and you can see here, and this is SGC, of course, and no 10s. None. Wow. Though the sample size on this is really small, but the highest grades that they gave were 9s. There's not even any 9.5s. There's only 9s and 8.5, and then they go lower from there, 7 and 6.5. It's, man, yeah. Let's see what that other listing was. Since there were 2, let's see if that one, maybe they have some sort of typo or something. Let's see. Oh, nope, there's only 4 listed in here. No 10s. There's one 9.5, and it's a Jean Grey. And again, this is 1996, so there's like, what, 11 sample cards total. But still, that's a 0% 10 ratio. So that's that's pretty crazy. Let's see what PSA did for that. So Marvel Masterpieces 1996. Again, that's a super expensive set. So that's one that people, if you do have mint condition ones, you definitely want them graded because it's a pretty pricey set. So PSA graded 520 of them, and of that, 302, wow, are 10s, and 180 are 9s, which is crazy. I mean, that's 58% 10s, 35% 9s. Damn. Yeah, so let's go ahead and see what the DC Master Series is as well. We'll just do this one real quick. So with SGC, they graded what? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 cards. Only one of them got a 10. So that's an 11%. 11% ratio, though. Again, that's really small. And that was a Black Adam card. One of them got a 10. So let's see how PSA handled the DC set. These are nowhere near as popular as the Marvel ones right now, but still, it's an interesting thing to look at. So, yeah. Okay, so PSA graded 45 of them so far, and 35 of the 45 were graded as 10, as 10, and then 10 were graded as 9, and nothing lower than that. Holy crap, guys. So there's only 9s and 10s from this 1994 DC set. Yeah, and you can see there's not even a full set graded, but still, that's super impressive. Damn. So I'll go ahead and wrap this up with my final thoughts here. There's so many variables at play when it comes to grading cards that it's really hard to give a definitive answer as to what's going on here. But based on the data that exists currently, and based on the knowledge of the market and how people grade cards, you're not sending in junk cards usually to any of these graders. You're going to want to send in good examples of your cards and hope for a 10, especially when it comes to the Marvel cards, unless you're just really sentimental with one or something like that, which is totally acceptable. But most people are going for the 10s, and then they'll settle with 9s and 9.5s and stuff. But the 10 is the objective. So looking at that, PSA certainly seems to give that out more, at least at the moment. Now, whether that means that all of the cards are better quality that are being sent to PSA versus SGC, I mean, we don't have enough data to determine that. I would assume that they're pretty similar. That's just my assumption, is that most people are going to be sending the same types of cards. The thing that I want to call out the most is the market value placed on these cards at the current time. So SGC's brand is nowhere near as recognized as PSA's in the market in terms of quality for some reason, but they're definitely pretty strict at grading, and there's like this perception that they're not as strict as grading with their grading as PSA, but clearly if you look at this data, at least when it comes to these comic cards, they certainly are. If you get a 10 from SGC, chances are it is definitely of PSA 10 quality. You know what I mean? Like, the ratios speak for themselves on that. A 9.5 from SGC is a coin flip if it's a PSA 10 or not, kind of a situation based on these ratios and percentages. That's my 2 cents. Again, I'm not any sort of advisor. I'm not giving advice. This is for entertainment purposes only, but that's what it looks like to me. So there's a couple of takeaways that could be gained from that, a little bit of insight, which would be you could maybe get some 9.5s from SGC and then later do a reholder to PSA. Though there's always a little bit of bias. If you send it in the case, they might take that into consideration and downgrade it to a 9, so you might want to crack it out of the case and send it in raw and see if you get to 10, kind of a thing. Or there could be a good buying opportunity when it comes to the 10s from SGC to actually buy and hold them for long-term value, assuming a few things. One, that the Marvel cards keep gaining value, Marvel and DC. This is very much a speculative type of market, so they're not guaranteed to gain value. In fact, they could go down. It's completely Wild West right now with this particular market. But if you are a believer in it, and if you do want to be there for an investment standpoint, I guess, or just if you want to collect them and you want some 10s, SGC is a good way to go because they're so much cheaper. They're on average 2 to 4 times less in cost than a PSA 10 of the exact same card. Now, there are definite exceptions to this rule. Actually, if the card is really popular and highly desired, take Stan Lee, for example, or the Black Suit Spider-Man like in this image, those types of cards actually do have pretty much the same market value as the PSA 10, if not a little more, depending on the market, just because the grading ratio is so drastic. So when it comes to the price swings of like 2 to 4 times less for an SGC, that's looking at things that are not really heavily desired, like from the hype perspective. So things like 1992 Marvel Universe, Captain America, and or fill in the blank with any number of other Marvel cards. If you compare the PSA 10 to the SGC 10, more than not, it's cheaper for the SGC 10 of the exact same card. There's a lot of opportunities out there to get some cheaper SGC 10 cards that may have a market correction in a positive way in the future. Just because now we know that they are rare. They are pretty rare. So just something to keep in mind. Anyway, guys, I hope that you liked this video. I hope that you found it informative and everything. And if you did, remember to please give it a thumbs up, as it greatly helps the channel. And for more content like this in the future, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Anyway, thank you very much for coming by and checking out this video. I really appreciate it. And I hope to see you again next time. Take care.